There is a reason that innocent until proven guilty is a core tenet of the American justice system. Whether it's Pete Hegseth or Justice Brett Kavanaugh, heck, even Donald Trump, the accused have the right to defend themselves, not just in a court of law, but also in the court of public opinion. But what often happens is an accuser will come forward and people rush to judgment. There is mob mentality, mob rule, and people make their presumptions before the facts of the case are even known. Because you know what? Hashtag Me Too and hashtag Believe All Women. Well, sometimes and oftentimes these accusers lie. And there's not often a good reason. One of those accusers has now admitted 18 years later that she lied. So Crystal Mangum, who accused the Duke lacrosse players of sexually assaulting her, is now on video saying, I lied about the whole thing, and I hope they forgive me for ruining their lives. So I do know I have a few younger viewers, Gen Z, and then maybe you weren't paying attention to the news at the time. So for those of you unfamiliar, 3 Duke lacrosse players were accused of sexual assault. David Evans on the left, Colin Finnerty in the center, and then Reed Seligman on the right. Well, Crystal Mangum had an accusation against all of them, and here she is admitting that she fabricated the whole story.
And I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me.
And the worst part of this is that not only were their lives ruined, but many other people had their lives destroyed after this incident. So according to CNN, there was a lot of fallout. The 3 of them were arrested. Not only were they arrested, but the entire team's 2006 season was canceled, the lacrosse teams. Coach Mike Pressler was fired. The district attorney on the case was convicted of criminal contempt, and he was disbarred. You can take a look at everything that happened, and there was massive fallout. And then those 3 young men who were in college at the time, they had difficulty getting a job. I imagine that they probably had a hard time dating. I haven't looked into the specifics of their romantic lives, but after a sort of public accusation like that and all the media scrutiny, I can't imagine that dating was easy for them, let alone making friends. I mean, these consequences are huge. Your life is forever changed after an accusation like that. And for someone to just flippantly make something up, whether it's for money, whether it's for status, whether it's for fame, it doesn't matter. And that's why with any case, I believe in innocence until proven guilty. And that brings me to my next story. So there have been sexual assault allegations against Pete Hegseth. Now, for the record, I have a hard time believing the accuser's story. I think there are a lot of plot holes in the story, and I think the police report raises more questions than it provides answers. Now, we'll get more into those allegations as the confirmation hearings approach, because I'm sure that topic, that story, is going to be a cornerstone of those confirmation hearings. But there was actually another allegation lobbied against Pete Hegseth, and that allegation was exposed as completely being false. So the allegation was that Pete Hegseth lied about being accepted into West Point. Turns out that story, that allegation, was a lie. So here's what happened. ProPublica, a Marxist publication, that's putting that lightly, they reached out to West Point to confirm whether or not he actually got in. So the reporter reached out to West Point, and West Point told that reporter, no, we have no record of him ever applying, let alone being accepted. So that reporter then reached out to Pete Hegseth's team. Here is a copy of how they reached out. And if you'll notice, and then that reporter reached out to Pete Hegseth's team and asked for a comment. Here is a copy of that email, and you'll notice this second paragraph. I'm reaching out with an urgent request for comment for your client, Pete Hegseth. We're moving quickly, so please let me know if you or he would like to comment as soon as possible. Our deadline is 1 hour. So a man who is very busy, who is the current nominee to be defense secretary, is asked by ProPublica to provide a response within 1 hour. There is no guarantee that Pete Hegseth or his team even saw that email within the same hour it was sent. I am sure that they are bombarded. So ProPublica puts it out there that Pete Hegseth lied, was never accepted into West Point. Well, it turns out that Pete Hegseth actually was. So Pete actually put this into the public domain. He shared his acceptance letter, which you are now seeing on your screen. On top of that, they don't just get an acceptance letter. There is actually a certificate that comes along with this. And you can even see the West Point emblem there on the bottom left-hand corner of this certificate. So West Point actually has an explanation for all of this. They write, "Hi, thanks for reaching out. We can provide the following statement. A review of our records indicates Peter Hegseth was offered admission to West Point in 1999 but did not attend. An incorrect statement involving Hegseth's admission into the U.S. Military Academy was released by an employee on December 10, 2024. So I think realistically there were two options here. Number one, they just were negligent. That employee was sloppy and they didn't actually do their job properly, and that's why they put out the incorrect statement. Or if you want to get really cynical about it, they lied. So if you have an opinion on that, let me know down below. And there is more to that statement. The clarification was that because he didn't attend, his file was separate, and the person who issued that statement was looking at graduates rather than just people who were accepted in the school. So that's the official narrative. So let me know if you buy that or if you think it's something more cynical and someone, maybe not West Point as an academy, but just that individual employee was trying to hurt Hegseth. There's no evidence of that, but, I think it's fair to evaluate all options. So let me know if you have any thoughts on that below. Now, Pete Hegseth has been in the headlines for doing a 180 on whether or not women and gays should be allowed to serve in the military. I don't have any comments on that. However, when he was asked to respond to the story put out by CNN, I really loved his response to this, and I think that this is what more nominees should do moving forward.
Do you believe that gay people should be allowed to serve in the military?
Yes.
You said, can you just respond to the CNN report this morning? It was highlighting some of your previous comments saying
I don't feel the need to respond to CNN.
Have a good day,
you are comfortable with gay people openly serving in the military.
Did you hear what I said there?
Have a good day, man.
Thank you.
I don't feel the need to respond to CNN. That is even more of a bite. That's even more of a snub than actually arguing with their reporting. Because you're just saying, I'm not even going to legitimize that question by responding to CNN. So I thought that was brilliant. I hope we see more of this, especially as we see the rise of new media. Down with the old guard. I absolutely love it. So Kamala Harris appears to still not be taking her election loss well. She was seen at a Christmas party in Washington, D.C., and many people speculate, was she drunk? Is she on something? Is she high? Or is this just her naturally joyful self? Let me know your thoughts.
And I give you permission that if you are going to someone's house who doesn't know how to cook, bring your own dish. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm all about no regrets.
Woo! I mean, either that truly is her personality and it's just offbeat, or she is under the influence all the time, because all these public appearances lately is looking really rough. Well, who else looks rough is Don Lemon, who is not happy at all that Time Magazine named Donald Trump Person of the Year. Now, this is a 2-minute clip, so I'm going to respond in real time, yeah, he is just having a rough one, and I don't want to put you through the torture of Don Lemon for 2 minutes straight, so that's why I'm going to talk.
Now, if they wanted to make someone Person of the Year, they would have made someone who, and my God, I'm sure he loves this, right? If they wanted to make someone Person of the Year, I don't know, they could have done it with any person. They could have done it to someone who actually stood for democracy, who stands for democracy in the country.
Like who, though?
Now, you think about what encompasses Person of the Year.
And as if Trump
Just
doesn't.
because you are elected president of the United States does not mean that you should be person of the year. What Time Magazine, what are you doing? Let me ask you, Time Magazine. What do you say to the women who, I guess, still read Time Magazine? Or the women who don't they do like a whole Time 100 thing or something, which, what about the women who are on that list? What about that? I'm sure some of them will had dealt with issues that women have to deal with, like discrimination in the workplace, SA, all kinds of things. You have someone on the cover of your magazine who is an adjudicated assaulter. You have someone who inspired an insurrection. You have someone who, without a doubt, the evidence is there, tried to overturn a free and fair election.
Like
You
Bill
had
Clinton,
someone
Hillary
who
Clinton,
had multiple criminal
Al Gore.
counts and found guilty on multiple criminal counts. And you name them person of the year? Is this a joke? Did we get something wrong? Did someone scam us? Are we sure about this, producers? There is a convicted felon on the cover of Time Magazine as the person of the year. Maybe we're being scammed. Did someone put out a fake tweet or something about
No, Don
this?
Lemon, the only people who are being scammed are your viewers, and they're being scammed out of their time, and they're being scammed out of knowing the truth because you are too blinded by your Trump derangement syndrome to see the truth behind any of these allegations, any of these stories. January 6th, easily explainable, the trying to overturn the election. There is nothing wrong with questioning elections. Democrats, if you want to talk about election deniers, it's the Democrats who are the election deniers. Ridiculous. And then he wants to talk about women as though no women voted for Trump. Yeah, right. And then Trump having a female chief of staff, female campaign, like, you can go through the list. Trump does surround himself with strong, powerful, independent, smart women. Narrative is just absolutely ridiculous. So, a lot of stories in today's video. I would love to hear your opinions on all of them. I think it's really interesting that Crystal Mangum, after all these years, 18 years, has admitted to lying about the Duke lacrosse case. But I'm also interested in specifically your thoughts about West Point. Do you think that it was an honest mistake? It was just that one employee? Or do you take the more cynical view that this was an intentional lie by the organization to trash Pete Hegseth? Let me know your opinions, your comments down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.